ask them to go home. What's going on? I know, peacefully. Why don't we get on our knees and beg them to go home? It is their karma. It is on their conscience.
I know.
This will be on theirs. You know?
Ask them.
Why don't we
They're like the Roman soldiers.
I know, but let's not vilify them. Let's just...
Well, vilification is good in Turkey. Especially toward them.
Of course, it's not against the law.
Unless you're Terri Schiavo.
Except if you're Terri Schiavo, I know. But if we approach it from a different angle, you know what I mean? We really have to try everything.
Try it.
Even if it's getting on their knees.
Hey, if it's going to cost anybody money, they're not going to. You know, it's their job.
They go away. Let's not vilify them. You know?
Try it.
Let's not vilify them. Let's just get on our knees and beg them.
Then try it.
Then beg them to go home.
They don't agree.
Beg the police. They're not villains. They're doing their job.
No, they're villains. No, that's wrong.
I know.
Then don't say they're not villains. They are.
Listen, if you call them villains, approach someone that way. They just like they match you that way.
If your technique will work, okay, then if your technique will work, go do it. Go do it. I understand your passion. Please do it. You know why? You know why I'd like you to do it? Because not that they're going to listen, but it will be one more witness against them that they've been working at for a while. Obviously, they're pretty hard.
What's the truth for you?
I'm sorry?
What's the truth for you?
There is no truth for me. There's only truth.
What's the truth?
Regarding what?
Well, you said that.
I didn't say that, but it's true. Well, they know the truth. They know, and I've been telling them. They simply reject it.
And what is it that you've been telling them?
That they're not defending Terri against people. Try something else, please. All right. I'm encouraging you very sincerely. Please.
Right, is this the sidewalk right here? Is this okay? Inside? Okay. I'm going to stay here and I'm going to keep begging them. Please go home! Police officers, please go home! You don't need this karma! It'll follow you forever!
Guilt.
You don't need this guilt. You'll hear her voice. You will not sleep. I want to live. I want to live. I want to live. You will never be able to stop that echo. What you do here in this life will echo through eternity. What you do here tonight will echo through your eternity. Go home, please. Whatever your religion or faith is, go home. Officers, please go home. You do not want this karma on you. Go home. Everybody, please beg them to go home. Let us go in and give her water. Go home. Go home. Please go home. You're stopping compassion. You're stopping compassion. You will live with this for eternity, no matter what your faith is. You will hear her voice saying over and over again, I want to live. I want to live. I want to live. Those words will never go out of your mind. You'll hear them forever. We know you're doing your job. You do not want this karma on you and your children and your family.
Bible
You do not want it.
Jesus wept. So we're going to sing How Great Thou Art.
This description that Terri's eyes are swollen, her skin is sallow, her mouth is dry, but again they are emphasizing it is not too late, she can be saved. from Michael Schiavo's side, referring to George Filos, his attorney, that the death process has been relatively peaceful. He uses words like Terri Schiavo is comfortable, she's resting peacefully, she's not in pain. And he also pointed out that contrary to a lot of rumors, she has not been on a morphine drip. Rather, on 2 separate occasions, she was given a little bit, very low doses of morphine. I also want to give you a better sense of what's going on here, Dan. If Sean
try skipping a meal.
Here, you can see the chaos here on the ground. You really don't get a good idea of it when we show it to you on TV. Besides the dozens of reporters, and there are about 100 protesters here. They continue holding up signs like, if Terri says it's painless, why is she on morphine? Mostly pro-Schindler protesters. In fact, I haven't really seen a pro-Schiavo protester, to be honest. Periodically, the crowd breaks into song. Once in a while, we hear a bagpipe playing in the background. But perhaps most interestingly, 24 hours a day, you hear the continual beating of a drum. They have that center man, and when one person stops beating it, she was very verbal. I talked to her about things we used to do, going dancing, but her arms came up several times when I mentioned the word dancing. When I talked to her about concerts or just things we used to do together, she got very verbal, more verbal than I've ever seen.
Have the governor send in someone to do the autopsy, or the president.
Today, millions of Americans are saddened by the death of Terri Schiavo. Laura and I extend our condolences to Terri Schiavo's families. I appreciate the example of grace and dignity they have displayed at a difficult time. I urge all those who honor Terri Schiavo to continue to work to build a culture of life where all Americans are welcomed and valued and protected, especially those who live at the mercy of others. The essence of civilization is that the strong have a duty to protect the weak. Cases where there are serious doubts and questions, the presumption should be in the favor of life.
The law exists to express our values. The law, I've been saying this in speeches to students about why getting involved in government is so important. I always say the law is where we define the beginning of life and the end of life, and that's exactly what was going on here. And I think as a matter of law, if you go particularly to the 14th Amendment, can't be denied due process, have your life or liberty taken without due process of law, that though Congress's involvement here was awkward, unconventional, it was justified to give this woman, more than her parents or husband, the opportunity for one more chance before her life was terminated by an act which was sanctioned by a court, by the state. These are very difficult decisions, but and of course if you asked me what I would do if I was the Florida legislature or any state legislature, I'd say that if somebody doesn't have a living will and the next of kin disagree on whether the person should be kept alive, or that is whether food and water should be taken away and her life ended, that really the benefit of the doubt ought to be given a life, and the family member who wants to sustain her life ought to have that right, because the judge really doesn't know, though he heard the facts, one judge, what Terri Schiavo wanted. He made a best guess based on the evidence before him. That's not enough when you're talking about aggressively removing food and water to end someone's life.
On the phone by longtime Village Voice columnist Nat Hentoff. In his latest piece in The Voice, The Village Voice, he calls the Terri Schiavo case judicial murder and the longest public execution in history. Nat Hentoff is with us, as well as American University law professor Jamin Raskin. Let's begin with Nat Hentoff. Well, tell us where you stand at this point and why you feel that this is judicial murder. Nat Hentoff?
Concurring to the opinion, two of them said it is fully within Congress's power to dictate standards of review for federal courts. Indeed, if Congress cannot do so, the fate of hundreds of federal statutes